Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another parking lot preview. I'm Matt Coates. Sitting to my right is Mike Maynard, my co-host. We're sitting here at the lot in McKean Park. However, right after we record this video, Mike and I are going to hop in our cars, drive on over the bridge, and head over to play the Wareham Gatemen, who are red hot, Mike. Currently first in the West with a 9-2 record, but they've won 6 straight games. Hyannis Hawks sitting at third in the Western Division with a 6-4-1 record, with a big win last night to end a cold stretch.
Yeah, a cold stretch for the Hawks is going at the same time as Wareham's hot stretch, so not ideal. No. But like you said, the Hyannis Hawks coming off last night's win should be hopefully getting their own hot streak here, like the beginning of the season. Starting 4-0 is a big hot stretch for themselves, so should be a good game between two teams that can show that they both are hot at times, and both teams that are in the West battling for that number one spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's tough when you run into a team like Wareham that's won 6 straight. We saw them at the beginning of their run. They hit about, I think, 3 home runs off of our pitching staff. Not what you wanted to see. It was a tough game. Kind of our first lopsided loss of the season. And when we talked to Mitch Carragher after the game, he acknowledged that, and he said, offensively, defensively, it just wasn't our day. Hopefully, like you said, today is our day. We start our own hot streak, and maybe we can contend to get back up there in the upper echelon of the Western Division.
I think it's definitely possible. It's two teams that know each other pretty well, two teams that already have played, which haven't played YD. I think that's the only team we haven't played yet. So now we're getting into a little bit more familiarity with these teams. We've seen most of these guys on these rosters before. Obviously, there's a little change here and there, but seeing these guys able to maybe game plan a little bit more around something that we know a little bit about at this point. So should be an interesting one, getting game 2, looking to get redemption after that first game.
Yep, and Mike, we hinted at it earlier, and I'm going to talk about last night's big victory for the Hawks right here at McKean Park. We had lost 3 straight games after starting the season 4-0-1. The team was reeling a little bit, and it's not like all hope is lost. The season's so young, but you never want to go on such a cold stretch. And last night, the Hawks showed how resilient they are, being able to rebound with a 5-2 victory at home against the Harwich Mariners. And it was pretty dominant from the start, especially on the bump. Joseph Giroux made his final start for the team, and then coming in behind him, as we've seen every start after Giroux, Aaron Savory filling in right behind him. The duo went 7 innings pitched with 9 strikeouts without allowing a run. The final 2 runs came in the latter 2 innings of the game with Stone Cushing on the mound. But those 2 pitchers that we mentioned were dominant, and the bats were hot, got those 5 runs, and got us a victory.
You talk about those 2 pitchers. Savory, 6 strikeouts to his own card last night, so a big game for him. But you said those bats, Eric Snow was the bat really last night that really, showed a lot and came away with 3 RBIs on the night. He's now leading the team, not the league. Leading the team in batting average right now is Eric Snow with a 3 RBI night last night, 2 hits, and almost had a hit in the 8th inning there. Home run ish.
Home run adjacent.
Yeah, it was very close. Probably would have hit the top of the wall, the little blue part at the top of the wall. If you've been to McKean Park, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't,
you better come.
You got to come. But yeah, Eric Snow really, really close to a home run. We talked to him last night, and he said he thought it was gone off the bat, and just maybe call it robbery. Maybe it would have snuck out if it bounced off the top of the wall and over.
There was a little wind last night too. Maybe that brought the ball in.
But still a great game for him offensively and continuing to have a lot of success. This cold stretch for the Hawks has been a lot of guys really not showing what they did at the beginning of the season with the bats, but Eric Snow has stayed consistent throughout that entire time. So good to see him continuing to have success and the team bringing home a win last night, and him bringing in insurance runs in the end, which did prove to be necessary with the 5-2 win. As you said, 2 runs surrendered in the 9th inning there. So those insurance runs are huge. The bats got it going last night. Kane Kepley, 2 RBIs as well. So the guys are hitting the ball again, and timely hitting has really been something that we saw at the beginning of the season a lot more than we have recently, and now last night saw that again. So it's a good thing to see that, and moving forward, hopefully they can carry that into the future and even into tonight's game.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned it. Timely hitting is so important and so crucial in the game of baseball. We see so many times a team can litter the box score with hits, but if you don't get those hits with runners on base, runners in scoring position, it will be all for naught. Your team won't put up runs. Last night, Hawks didn't have to worry about that. You mentioned Snow. It's great that you could talk about a guy who almost had a homer. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that I got caught. He still had 3 RBIs, had 2 hits besides that. He had a fantastic night. Kane Kepley, I think a bit of an unsung hero for this team, Mike. He's played in every game, and I don't think he's done bad in any single game yet. He's a phenomenal player defensively, offensively, and he showed it last night.
I want to mention two of the bats that have been mainstays in this lineup: Parker Brocious and Zach York, ending up being removed from Hyannis. Not removed, injury
Yeah,
concerns and
injury, had to get
everything.
sent
It just
home.
didn't work out, and those two guys were definitely mainstays in the lineup. Obviously, great personalities as well. So thank you guys for all your time and all your well played games here at McKeon Park and every away game as well. But got to move forward. Guys have been filling those gaps and looking for more guys to keep coming to Hyannis from their schools, from their other summer leagues, and hopefully fill those spots. But I'll move on really quick to Wareham's last game last night. A 8-2 victory over Chatham last night. You mentioned 6 games in a row. They haven't lost a game in over a week. So those Wareham Gatemen aren't used to losing. And last night was no different. 8-2 win over Chatham. I got a bug flying in front of my face. The story of the game was Brendan Summerhill. 3 for 5, 6 RBIs. You heard that correctly. 6 RBIs.
It's a lot.
3 for 5, home run, double. The guy was on a tear. And the pitching staff, it wasn't just him. The pitching staff, 0 earned runs for the Wareham Gatemen last night. So really a dominant win for them over Chatham. And hopefully that doesn't happen tonight because the Harbor Hawks are looking for a win, which would be huge to stack 2 in a row. So Wareham's coming off a big game where their bats really got things going. And we saw, like you said, home runs galore at Spillane Field last game just a few days ago, honestly, in Wareham. So hopefully those bats can quiet down. Hopefully the pitching can get things going tonight for the Harbor Hawks and keep those runs off the board.
Yeah, Mike, you really can't say enough about these Gatemen over the past week. 6 straight wins, 3 home runs against us to start their run, and a lot more runs last night to keep that run going. Hopefully it ends tonight. And Mike, if it ends tonight, it's going to have a lot to do with Hyannis pitching. Talk to us a little bit about our projected starter.
Yeah, tonight's starter projected. We aren't 100% sure, but Cade
know.
Crossland, we haven't seen him start a game yet. 3 appearances, the 6'2" left-handed pitcher from Weatherford Junior College. 3 appearances, like I said, no starts. 4.5 ERA and 4 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts. Batter's only hitting .091 against him, though, so he's able to keep weak contact and 6 strikeouts in 4 innings, as I mentioned. So he's had success. That 4.5 ERA is a little bit skewed, obviously, but he's not allowing a lot of hits. He's getting some strikeouts. We haven't seen him start a game, but again, we're hypothetically thinking he will start tonight's game, and that should be interesting to see how his preparation goes into that, and if he can have success like he has been in relief, if he can do that again in a different position as a starter tonight.
Yeah, Mike Crossland, a guy who, like you said, pitched at Weatherford Junior College last year, is committed to go to Oklahoma this next season. Boomer sooner. Head out Mikey Lucario, Director of Baseball Operations, bringing him down here and getting him to his school. What a move by that guy. But yeah, obviously he has great stuff. He's transferring to the Sooners next season. So guy can pitch. Did well in relief last time. You mentioned those stats. Hopefully he goes out and does well in a starting role. Hopefully limit the Gatemen early, maybe make the team feel good, at least believe in themselves that they have a good chance to win this game, and go out and see what happens.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good matchup because on the other side, Wareham's got Cole Lehman pitching, 6-foot right-handed pitcher out of Lee. 2 starts on the Cape, so he actually has that starting experience. A 3.38 ERA over 8 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, and batters are hitting 148 against him. So one of these guys that has a lot of experience now on Cape. There's not a lot of them because we've only had a few games to this point, but 3rd start for him under the books. We saw what Jerwa did last night in his 3rd start. These guys, once they get their 3rd start, might be, learning a lot about what this league's all about, learning how to prepare correctly, and he might be in for a big game. But hopefully, again, like we keep mentioning, the Harbor Hawks were able to take it to him early, and we've seen how important it is to get off to an early start and get an early lead because some of these games are getting called early due to different weather conditions and everything. So it's important to get off to an early start, and if the Harbor Hawks can get to Lehman early, it'll be a big proponent to the end of this game and the outcome of what it plays out.
Definitely. I think if these Harbor Hawks are to come out with confidence tonight, an early start would be a big part of that. I don't think they're going to be too worried about Wareham's success over the past week, but even if subconsciously anyone's thinking about it, an early start, a few runs in the first few innings, that will ease the minds of me for sure, and I'm sure the guys out there on the field and in the dugout as well.
Yeah, definitely. We mentioned it before. Wareham got that 11-6 win last game against the Harbor Hawks just a few days ago. 17 hits for Wareham in that win. So keeping those runners off the bases, keeping the pitchers calm, everybody calm, cool, collected, everybody's locked in, and keeping everybody locked in to the fact that they know, okay, we got this. We aren't allowing a lot of base runners. We aren't getting down. We are, in this game. And I think that, like you said, that should be huge in keeping confidence going and hopefully bringing home away.
For sure. And Mike, with that being said, I think we have to move on to our final segment of the day, where we pick our player of the game for tonight's matchup. Heading over the bridge, going to Spillane Field, going against a big, tough opponent who's hot right now. You got to pick a guy you can trust. You got to pick a guy who's proven he can succeed on the Cape. I'm going to go with a guy who might have slid under the radar the past few days. That's John Gazdar. Was here last year, successful. Early this year, very successful. A few other names have been popping off recently, but we know he's still got it. We know he's still an excellent player. You know a lot about him, a lot about his approach. I trust him to go out there, help lead these troops tonight, hopefully get a victory against these Gatemen.
John Gazdar has been huge this whole season. I mentioned Snow taking the lead in batting average, but John Gazdar hasn't really let up. He's right there behind him. And in third place is going to be my pick, Michael Detallo, taking over at first base. Obviously, we mentioned Zach York not with the team anymore. So Detallo's got a bigger role now, playing basically every single day now. And he's been a hot bat as of late. He's really picked things up after a slow start. The last 7 days, he's led the team. I keep going league. Led the team in batting average, though, over the last week. So he's been a hot bat, really got things going as of late. Showed his power as well and played good defense over at first base. I think he's in for a big game. And like you mentioned with John, these two guys I think are really going to be a big part to Hyannis hopefully coming away with a win.
That's a great pick, Mike. Like you said, he's been hot recently. And with that departure of York, he's going to be expected to take a step up and be consistent every single day, day in and day out. I'm going to give a quick shout out to York again lastly. He's a 2-year player. He was here last year, did so great. And he went out with a bang last night, Mike. His host brother, who he's lived with these past few years, Eric Snow, did so great, won player of the game. So York made sure to give him a nice little Gatorade bat there at the end of the game while he was getting interviewed. So we're going to miss you, York. You're such a great personality and a great ball player. But best of luck with your year next year at Grand Canyon University.
Truly, couldn't have said it better myself. He was a guy that we, as interns for 2 years, witnessed him come to the field every single day. We mentioned it earlier in other episodes. He was here at the field early as anyone, getting the work in, making sure that he was improving his game. And unfortunate injury, unfortunately ended his time early. But we thank you for your time, and on to better things for Hyannis, hopefully.
Yeah, and him personally.
And him, yeah, obviously. We want to keep the success.
We want to keep the success, and then we want him to get successful on his own right.
Hopefully, he's the most successful person
ever.
That'd be great.
Wow. With that being said, Mike,
go Hawks.